probably should have music for this part, but this is the very first episode. So we need music out there.
I like the music.
Yeah, well, clearly I'm going to need some. Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome to Board Game the Game Show presents The Interview. This is our show where we interview a celebrity, and I use that loosely, and then you have a chance to win fabulous prizes. What I want to do first is I want to introduce my celebrity for the episode, a person that was kind enough to be my guest. Let me introduce one, Mr. Stephen Buonocore. How are you doing?
Celebrity. I love that. Just, mock me as we do this. I think this is awesome.
I think you had to expect it, right?
Of course. How you doing, buddy? It's really good to see you. Without colorful hair, though. It's sad.
I know, it's like only at the very ends, and it's sad now because of the times we're in.
It's the COVID sadness of not seeing you with really great blue, green, some crazy hair.
I know. I miss it so much. And even my avatars have it.
And me, where am I? I'm in some non-disclosed location in a hotel room.
I know.
Near Cape Canaveral, Florida. Why?
And we're going to talk about that in 1 second. But first, let me do this. Let me introduce everybody to the game that we're going to be playing in just a couple of minutes. If you're out there and you want to win prizes, and I know that you do, find a phone, find a tablet, find a device, anything that's web-based, and go to crowd.live and enter the code WGKN4. WGKN4. So what's going to happen, since this is our very first episode, we'll explain everything, is the always wonderful Mr. Buonocore and I, we're just going to chat for a while at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, we're going to get into a game where you can win prizes. We, ahead of time, discussed some awesome 50-50 questions. We're going to bring them up on the screen. Answer them as fast as you can, and if you match Steven's answers, you will get points. If at the end of our 10 50-50 questions, you have the most points, you're going to win prizes. And tonight, first place is going to take home an Aftershock bundle. Second place is going to take home Divvy Dice. And we will figure out who gets that in a while. But first, let's talk to one Mr. Stephen Buonocore.
So you're going to be playing a Jackbox game, basically, that you created.
Yes, about you.
So cool.
About you. I know. Isn't this cool? I mean, for everything we can say, my hair is almost a normal people color. But with having to be trapped in my house, I've invented stuff like this and found the tools to make it happen. So there is some good to come of what's going on here.
That's right.
But you led into it, and I just want to follow you. Why are you in a sad hotel room with a 17-year-old 20-inch television in the back? Because you only have that kind of a garbage television when you're at a really cool place, because if you were somewhere worse, they'd have to give you a legitimate TV.
It is a Marriott hotel, so it's not like some really ugly.
We've met. I didn't figure you were at the Hotel Aces or whatever. I figured you were at a half decent place.
And just to make sure, my girlfriend's sitting right next to me. She's like handing me things and like prompting me to do things. We did bring Lysol wipes in case we needed them, for anything. But the place is great. So why am I here?
Why in the world are you there?
In a hotel in Titusville, Florida, which is just outside of Cape Canaveral, because yesterday we broke quarantine responsibly.
Okay.
Got our masks over here. Where's my mask? I put it over by the bed. We very responsibly. We went over to the Kennedy Space Center today. We had special passes to go and watch the launch of the Mars 2020 mission, which features the Perseverance rover and the Ingenuity helicopter, which are now rocketing, no pun intended, themselves toward Mars at 25,000 miles an hour. So it was an amazing morning. It was at 4:00 in the morning wake-up call for us, and we got over there. We had a great morning watching that, and it was really special. I mean, I'm a big space nerd. For the longest time, I'm old enough, unlike most of your viewers, to remember Neil Armstrong actually taking the first steps on the moon. I was an 8-year-old boy, and I watched that happen, and it stuck with me so seriously ever since then. I literally remember it like it was yesterday. So it was a great day for us.
Wow. So then this is going to lead to, I feel like, just because anybody that's here knows you from Stronghold Games,
Of
So,
course.
and like goodness knows through the years, you have picked up a bunch of games from a bunch of places and brought them to the United States. Is the part of you that's a space nerd, is that how you end up with terraforming Mars? Is there some part of that, or is it just you could see what a great success it was going to be? I'm always curious, like how those decisions get made.
Yeah, there's a little bit of both in it.
Okay.
The story behind how we ended up getting Terraforming Mars is not all that complex. I had a very close relationship with the German printer Ludofact. They're the largest printer of board games in the world, I'm pretty sure at this point.
Yeah.
Especially after the huge hobby game revolution. Certainly in China, many games are printed, but there's so many factories out there. Ludofact does a huge number of games in Europe, and we were one of their customers sort of not early on. They've been doing it for many years, but early on during like the beginning of Stronghold, we hooked up with them and started printing a lot of games with them. Frank Yeager, great guy, export manager there, said, Stephen, you do a lot of space games in general because that theme isn't as resonant with a lot of the European companies and the European gamers, but certainly is for more of the American gamers. So because you do a lot of those, I know these guys out in Sweden, and they're doing a game called Terraforming Mars. You want to talk to them? I said, of course I want to talk to them. That sounds like a great idea for a game. So let me talk to them. And sort of history evolved after that. We worked with them for 10 months on that game to take it from where they showed it to us to develop it more, to make it truly a great game. And then we brought it out. So yes, space has always resonated with me. I love that. I was known for doing space games probably because a little bit of that. And it is just a wonderful game. And we're so proud to have put that in the catalog at the time we did.
Oh, that is super awesome. I also have another, I'm curious how this stuff happens. How did you end up with the passes to be able to see this?
Oh, that's okay. Now this story, this is funny, like that you brought that up. Under the category of always be nice to people in life and good things will happen to you. And dude, let me tell you that, it takes a lot more energy. Can I say bad words on the show?
So here's the deal. I personally don't care. For Jen can't. They might be. So here's what I would do: is I would say follow your what is it now? 8 p.m. Your 8 p.m. guidelines.
It takes a lot more energy to be an a-hole than it does to simply be pleasant. That's not too much energy. You speak nicely to people. You engage them. So yesterday, we got up here the day before the launch to check into the hotel, but we wanted to go over to the Kennedy Space Center to pick up our badges, our annual passes. I bought annual passes because I figured I want to be coming up here more over the next year. I'm only 2.5 hours away, even less than that.
Okay, so it's close.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever seen a live launch. So I'm going to pick up my regular pass, and the next day, what I was planning on doing was going over to the beach. And at the beach, at Playa Linda Beach, we would have been only 4.8 miles direct line of sight to the launch pad. Wow. Very, very cool. Very, very close. However, during COVID, the National Park Service doesn't open that beach until noon. Ain't going to work. The launch is at 7:50. So we went over and we got there, and our fallback plan was just to come back to the Kennedy Space Center the next day, and there was a viewing area, a free viewing area. You're 7.1 miles away, but a free viewing. Okay, good. So we get there. We get to the guest services to get our badges, and there's this woman screaming at some guy. I don't know who this guy is. Screaming at some guy. I can't believe you. Why are all these exhibits closed? You're not. I didn't know this. You're charging me the gentleman said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but full disclosure, we have it on the website. You need to do the research. Things have to be closed very specific times. We also give you a free pass to come back next year as well. I don't live in Florida. That's good for you." She's creating a scene. Yeah. With the only other people there. We're like, here to pick up our passes. And the guy says, "Oh, just go right over there. They'll take care of you." He brings the irate woman to the side. Continues. Blah, 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 blah. We start the process up. She leaves. I look over to him. I said, we know, don't worry. We did our research. We know most of the things are closed, so we can't get into them. We're here for the launch tomorrow. He goes, oh, make sure you get your tickets to be in the VIP area. It's not called that. It was, but they give you a breakfast, and they have like professional a guy who's part of NASA giving you some commentary and a big screen to look at and things like that. I said, oh, I didn't know that you can do that. He goes, yeah. He goes, you know what? Don't buy the ticket. He gives me his business card. That was, and I'll show you his name without his numbers and things. Arthur is the manager of guest operations for the Kennedy Space Center. He says, wow, you'll be my guests tomorrow. You show up, you show him the card, you get in. What? And how did that happen? Because we were just nice.
That's
be nice to people. Good things happen to you. It's sort of a motto for me. You're always do good in business, create great relationships, and in this case, just be pleasant to people. And we got these nice tickets. They would have been like $40 a ticket. Just go ahead. And it came with breakfast, and we got these really cool NASA hats, which I can't put it on over my headphones. So really, really cool. What a great day it was today.
That's awesome. And I just want to double down, because anywhere you are, you're right. It is so much harder to be angry and a terrible person. And I will tell you, and I think you have to be able to agree with me here, for 100 situations, out of 100 situations, being nice, maybe 3 times you'll look back and say, well, if I had been a jerk, maybe more would have got accomplished. 97 times you're going to do better, and you're going to know you were a nice person and didn't make anybody's day worse. Like, it's just such an important thing. And I would say, like, right now, we're normally in the middle of convention season, but COVID has changed all of that.
Right.
But you would be amazed if you're at a convention, around the convention, getting food, in the convention, talking to volunteers and the people that own companies. If you're just a nice person, you would be shocked how much things can suddenly change. Games that aren't available are suddenly available. Food that is completely not going to be ready is suddenly ready. Just because you're just like, hey, I'm sorry everybody's a real jerk to you. What can we just do that's just normal? Let's just be people. I'm sorry everybody's mad. And they're like, you know what? You're a human being. Let me do this. And you would be amazed how many times.
Absolutely. 100% right. I can't agree more with you. And be nice to each other. And we're all in this together too. So overall, this is a really good time, especially a good time to be nice to everybody. So
absolutely.
100%.
And a note here, so I can bring up, there are some comments in the chat. You can't see them, but I can. So Suzanne wanted to note that the hat on the headphones is a leok.
Is a what?
Is a leok. It's like look, but it's sassier. Yeah.
I can't.
I know. Don't hurt it. Don't break it. I don't want you to break your NASA hat for this visual joke. The MFG cast is noting 10-4, good buddy. Oh, they've got you straight up on trucker talk. I think 10-4, good buddy, Smokey on my 6 is probably about the extent of my trucker talk.
I see the comments now. So I see Matt Bond is there. Oh, Suzanne is there. Hey, Suzanne.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
If there's anything you see you want me to bring on the screen, let me know. I'm trying to get the stuff that seems important. So there's another big thing to talk about, which is, I believe, technically tomorrow's your last day, isn't it?
That is exactly right. This is like the last time you're going to be seeing me wearing Stronghold Obnoxious Red. I have copyrighted and patented and all that kind. Stronghold Obnoxious Red. It will continue, but I will not be the president any longer. Yes, tomorrow is officially my last day. I plan on spending it at the Kennedy Space Center again, because we're going to actually go and do the whole tour. I could not be happier with how everything has played out. This has been in the works for years, literally for years. I am handing over the full reins of the company to some of the greatest people I've ever worked with in my life. Travis Worthington is the CEO of Indie Game Studios. That's both Stronghold Games and Indie Boards and Cards. He will run the thing. And Sydney Engelstein is now the director of game development for Stronghold Games. So she will curate the past and future catalog of Stronghold Games.
Nice.
It took 2 people to replace one Buonocore. You got Travis on one side, I got Sydney on the other side. So I'm really happy, especially with Sydney. Young, smart, aggressive, wonderful, conversational. She's so wonderful. I've known her since she was a child, literally, because Jeff Engelstein was a friend of mine back in New Jersey. She is a game designer in her own right with her father, Jeff. So just wonderful. I'm so happy. And Stephen will still be around, just not the stress of the day-to-day work for a publishing company. I'm staying around on the game media side of things. I am the podfather of gaming, and I'm branding myself that way. If you want, you can go on my Facebook page now. Not only my personal one, but I have Facebook /Podfather Gaming. Twitter is @Podfather Gaming. All the different outlets. YouTube, the Podfather of Gaming. So we'll be doing more stuff with the Dice Tower, maybe with Board Game Geek. Because, I love this. I like doing this. I like hanging out and talking to people. So we'll be doing some interesting geeky stuff there. And it'll unfold over time on how it'll all work out. I'll definitely take a little time away first. But then as the summer winds down and the fall comes up, you'll definitely start seeing me in various game media outlets going forward.
Very cool. So does that mean we're going to start seeing you? Are you going to be at conventions still? Because you've always been a fixture at, the one I like to talk about, just because it's one of the few I went to where I first met you, is the WBC. If you go to the WBC, you're going to every show.
Well, I went to the WBC, which is the World Board Gaming Championships. I only went there because they were a very short 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive from central New Jersey. So I basically took the company there, right? I would get some games shipped to my house, and I'd go there. We'd sell some games, and I'd play a lot of games with my friends who went there as well. Then when they moved it out to Pittsburgh area, that became an 8 hour thing, and I stopped going. But the point is, I will next year when we can go back to conventions, and I'm an eternal optimist. 2021, I believe, I pray, but I do believe that we'll be back at conventions. I will be at all the major conventions. Origins, Gen Con, Essen, Board Game Geek. I will be there, just not in the red, but I'll be gaming and I'll be hanging. We'll go have a beer. We'll have lunch. I'll be doing all the fun stuff that people do at conventions, not sitting in a booth and stuff, but still hanging out with all the gamers and the friends and fans. I'm still going to be that guy that's going to be hanging out with you.
That's always the fun part. And one thing I always like to note, I remember one of my favorite you in that red shirt situations was I ran into you in an airport. You not only owned that set of red shirts, for a very brief period, you bought off-colored shirts. I can't even imagine whether they were sent to you as a sample, hoping you'd buy more, but you would be in a black Under Armour. And I'd be like, oh, I did it. I finally caught Stephen Buonocore, not branded. And I would tap you on the shoulder and you go what's up, Bruce? I'm like, oh, he's still got the logo.
The logo is on there though. So, I actually bought myself a bunch of non-red, just kind of cool shirts to wear when I'm traveling. It's like wearing red on a plane. You look like you're going to a trade show. Not everybody has to know that, but I'd still have the shirt. It might be black. It might be blue. It might have some kind of pattern in it with a Stronghold Games logo. I still have those. And I bought them myself just to have a few extra non-red colors.
Nice. Few comments coming in. Let's take a note. Paula noting that you know how to brand. You knew it would only be a matter of time before you came across as Podfather.
Paula, who's sitting right next to me, my girlfriend. Yes. Paula,
yes.
Really?
Yes.
She's giggling over there. Go ahead, giggle louder so they can hear you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Abram also giggling. Note, maybe if you still hang out with Ignacy, maybe it'll be Horsehead cookies for the deals that nobody can refuse that you'll be making.
Buonocore has a lovely American pale ale right here, or actually pale lager, technically. Very delicious. From a local brewery.
Nice.
Here in Titusville.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always shocked because like we've talked about this. I'm not much of a beer drinker, but I love the thought of the tourism of beer. I've always super dug that, of all the weird cans and the weird references. I know right now for Gen Con, Sun King is doing something with the dragon from Gen Con. And I've just always thought that was so cool. In my neighborhood alone in Boynton Beach, Florida, 2.5 hours, as I mentioned, there's 4
breweries there. 4 breweries who just distribute it like a small area, or you can go there, of course. And it's just craft beer is such a big thing right now. And yeah, when we go to different places, one of our favorite things to do is to simply sample the local beers. And we went to 2 places over the last 2 days. It was the same brewery that they have 2 locations. And they were making different things in each location, and one had better food than the other one. And so that's kind of one of the things we do. We'll do beer tours in all the different places that we go. And when I go to like Indianapolis, and I'm always, at Gen Con right now, I would be going to the different places and doing samples. I love going to the Yard House when I'm in Indianapolis, which is a chain. It's all over the country, but they have 130 beers on tap. That is like a mecca for me. I like, I look at the taps and I bow down to the beer gods that are right there in front of me.
And then the last thing to note, and remind me, I feel like this is a thing I remember from my Stephen Buonocore trivia that I keep. I keep a little bit of Stephen Buonocore trivia in case I need to know it. Aren't you like a champion level taster for? I thought it was whiskey, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, beer. Actually, I'm a certified beer judge. I used to. And you literally, that's not like a joke. Like, I'm a certified beer judge. I drink a lot of beer. No, I mean, you have to. You take written tests and tasting tests. I did this a long time ago, like early '90s, mid '90s, or something like that. I got to start recognized, certified, but I stopped doing it because it was taking a lot of time. You got to go to a lot of beer tastings and do it. But that doesn't mean I stopped my love of beer, and I can still talk to you the way I can talk about board games and board game production and mechanics and what's good and what sells and what doesn't. You and I've done this with many people who are really big beer people. I can talk to you ad nauseum about beer styles, where the hops are grown, what's the hop belt across the world. I mean, it's my second biggest love in life is the appreciation of craft brewing. And I tell people that, there's beer and there's wine, right? Which, 2 different things. Making great beer is an art. The brewer has to create something by putting certain ingredients together. It's an art. Making great wine is an act of God. Because what I mean by that is that if you do not have the perfect conditions, your grapes will suck, your wine will suck. That's why there are only very few places that could make great wines. You can make great beer all over the place because it's easy to transport those ingredients to different places. They're more stable. Yeah. So anyway, all the wine lovers hate me now for saying that, but the point is, I like really good wines too. But
I mean, and at the point you're a sommelier grade beer tester, they at least have to appreciate that.
Exactly. Hey, by the way, I heard this was a game show. Are we ever going to
don't you dare. I was just letting you finish, and I wanted to get that I knew what a sommelier was in there, so I felt good. I want to take a couple more comments real quick, and then we're going to jump into the game show part of this. We take a look right here. Stephen, they expect you, if you dressed in plaid, you would just look like Rodney Smith, which Paula apparently wants to see happen. And I feel like she probably has a little bit of an ability to make that occur. Niobari noting he has his homebrew in New England, an IPA he has there. And then it looks like, there are some details about where you went to in Titusville at the Space Coast to check out your beer.
Playa Linda Brewing Company in Titusville. It's a really nice place. They've got 2 locations. Go to the one called The Bricks. Really cool place.
Very cool, very cool. So we're going to jump into the game show portion of this. Let me do one thing. Let me put up the board again. So if you joined us sometime in the middle, we are about to play a game show where you can win fabulous prizes. You see them scrolling on the bottom. You can win an Aftershock bundle or a copy of Divvy Dice right now on some sort of web-based device, be it a phone or an iPad or a tablet or whatever you have. Go to crowd.live and enter the code WGKN4. We are about to start going through 50-50 questions that we asked Stephen Buonocore ahead of time. You predict his answers, and if you predict them right and you predict them fast, you'll have a chance to win some fabulous prizes. So I'm going to give you, I have 26 people. There are 29 people watching and 26 people in the game. I'm going to give you like 20 more seconds. Once again, go to crowd.live, enter the code WGKN4 if you want to play along on this game that we are about to begin. Steven, are you ready?
I am ready. I want to mention that Aftershock, and I assume that's with Aftershock's expansion, District 6, is by Alan Moon. His first big box game since Ticket to Ride. So awesome game. And Divvy Dice is unreleased. Unreleased game. It's our 8th roll and write game, and it's coming out in September. You can get it before it's even released.
You can win it right here. You just need to get second place, which is a very specific place to target in on. Here we go. Remember, check your phones. There's one more thing I'm going to note to everybody out there is that there is a little bit of a delay on YouTube from when Steven and I are saying things and you hear them. Stare at your phone. Your phone is the timekeeper. Remember, the faster you answer, the better. You do not lose points for a wrong answer, so take those guesses because for a couple of them, you might actually know the answers, but a lot of them are just going to be random guesses. So let's start the game up. Yep, let's start the timer. 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And tonight's first question on the interview that we asked Steven, outer space or the bottom of the sea? Which of those do you think, Steve? We decided to start with an easy one, so we knew that everybody's phones were working. We thought this was a good one. Let's just see if everybody's phones are working. This should be free points for nearly everybody, we feel.
After this conversation just now, if you pick bottom of the sea, you probably are just not listening. You're probably like playing a game someplace and then like, oh, I'm going to pick B. Of course, outer space, man. We must get to Mars. It's going to be big. We're going to get to Mars during my lifetime. Oh, look at this.
100% of the people said outer space. 100% of the people are absolutely correct. Let's take a look at the board. Barry leading with 97 points. Clint in second with 95. Jason with 93. And it looks like the worst anybody's doing is in the 70s. And that was probably just a second for them to realize the game was playing. One more thing I'll put out there. Once you hit the button, you're locked in. So for the rest of it, remember, just if you accidentally tap it, bam, you have decided to do that. But of course, Steven, I wanted to make sure everybody, it feels real bad if at like question 3, you still have no points. So I thought, let's get some points in there.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm seeing a lot of people here that I know who are on my happy hour just before this. So
nice.
Hello, Zoe. I saw, who else? I just saw somebody. Oh, I just saw Paula's here. Jenny OC.
I was going to say, is Paula playing? Because if Paula's playing, that feels real unfair.
Is she playing? Are you playing? No, she's not playing.
No, I didn't figure. Paula can get those games if she wants them.
Yes, she can. They're in our house, so yeah, she can get them.
So we're about to move on to question number 2. Question number 2, we asked Steven, do you believe there is intelligent life elsewhere in the universe? In just a moment, I'll explain to you. We asked the question differently. And sometimes you ask a question that's 3 words long, and the answer you get, and I say that, we have 3 of these running this weekend. Sometimes you get a bit of an essay, and you go, oh, I'm going to reword the question. So this is worded this way because the question was, do you believe in aliens?
And Buonocore refused to answer that question just straight out. I had to answer it, with like, wait a second. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do I believe that they're hanging out here among us? I said, no, of course not. But do I believe there is intelligent life elsewhere in the universe? And the answer is 100% yes, there absolutely is. The mathematics of that absolutely are that there must be. The universe is just ridiculously big. The number of stars, the number of planets. Now we know just by the recent observations show that every star basically has planets. Many of those planets are in a habitable zone. They're there. We just can't talk to them. It's too far away. They're out there. Who knows if we'll ever be able to communicate? But the answer is, without a doubt, I 100% believe there is intelligent life elsewhere. We might not have it here, but it's elsewhere.
Absolutely right. 96% of the room getting that one right. One note, I'm going to bring it up on the screen just because it's been brought up there. Got to watch the screen. It's ahead of the video. Yes, that's exactly what I said when we started. Watch your phone screens. We're going to be talking. We're going to keep having our conversation. But if you want to win points, don't expect that everything's gonna loop up and there's not going to be lag. There's always going to be lag. Let's take a look and see how the scores are going. Niall Bari with 195 out of 200. Chris with 190, Jason with 189, and then everyone else has less points because we have enough people that I'm only going to talk about the top 3. If you see folks in there, Suzanne is 81 points so far, which is good.
Suzanne, come on.
Oh,
look at Jenny. Look at my girl Jenny OC, 184, doing great, Jenny. Yo.
Let's move on to our next question. Question number 3. It is a 10-question game. So we're going to move on to question 3. Here's what we asked. Concert or stage play? Concert or stage play? Which of these two? It's that simple. Pick one. Which one do you think the Podfather chose of concert or stage play?
I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Let the clock end.
Okay. So it was a hard one. This is a good one, a very good one. I think back in the day, the concert was the thing, but I love a great stage play. I love great drama on stage and the really, really high end, the top end musical type stuff. Les Mis is the single greatest a stage performance when it's done, by professionals on Broadway. I've seen Les Mis. I start crying. I'm a sensitive man. I start crying at the overture. Essentially, I don't stop for the entire time. It's that emotional. Les Mis. Hamilton is good. Don't get me wrong. Les Mis is number 1 always. But stage play is the winner on this.
So there we go. If you take a look, we have the numbers on the screen. 62% of people thought it was concert. Only 38% getting this one right. We just talked about it. It is absolutely stage play. Let's see how the scores are shaking out. Jason with 284. Abrams C with 283. This is a very tough game to only be 1 point apart in. And Andy P at 272. Remember, I'll keep reminding you through it. Top 2 players are going to leave with something. So Jason and Abrams C would be leaving with prizes right now. But we have, gosh darn it, we have a lot of game ahead of us.
A lot of games. Let's go into question number 4. The Beatles or Elvis? So a second ago, we talked about that maybe years ago, concert would have been the place to go. I happen to be a fan of, and they're trash, but I like them. I like jukebox musicals, like Smokey Joe's Cafe, that kind of stuff, all the new stuff that's coming out. And I want to say I saw the Cirque du Soleil does the Beatles. I know they did Elvis, but I've never seen it. So
I
am Cirque du Soleil is great, by the way. I am a huge fan of the Beatles. Elvis was great. He did the thing at his time, but the Beatles created a set of music that will live forever and sets itself apart in such a way. Nothing was done that sounded like it before. Nothing will ever be done again like it. The Beatles were the gods of music. So I am all about the Beatles.
Solidly with the Beatles, 56-44. So that is almost as close as we can get because I think we have an odd number. So I think we only kind of shifted one person over for it to be almost a 50-50. But Stephen's answer.
I can sing like so many Beatles songs. If you'd like me to break out into song at any point, just let me know and I'll just start going.
Now, here's what I can't tell. Is if that's a real offer, I'll take that. Or I believe Saturday night we are doing Jen Can't Karaoke.
Paula,
I think they would love to have you there.
Paula, write that down. Paula, Saturday night, please. Would you please write this down? She's like, you look at me like, what am I, your secretary?
Yeah, she's like,
what am I going to do? Saturday night is Jen Can't Karaoke?
Yes, it is. I want to say, I know I am doing another one of these interviews with Elizabeth Hargrave. And after I'm done with that interview, it is Jen Can't Karaoke. So I think it starts at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m.
At about 8 p.m. on Saturday night. And you're going to have the link is on this channel?
It's not going to be on this channel, but I'm positive. I know Suzanne sees it. Whatever I have to do to get you the link so that you know where to go, I will do that for you because I want you to sing these songs for people.
It happened once before. I walked through your door.
Here's
no reply. Yes, I will do more on Saturday night.
If I can make it. Second. The thing I liked about that was that you have a fine singing voice, and I don't want to say that you don't, but it's that you also affected like a quasi-British accent, which from you, I can't tell you how much I love that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's take a look at the leaderboards. Jason with 379, Andy P jumping up in a tie with Corey H. I will let you know something. If there is a tie at the end of this, I have no idea what we're going to do. I'm just going to let you know. We have no contingency plan because it's 10 questions. It's 1,000 points with a ticker. If there's a tie, I don't know. We'll figure it out. It might be a coin toss or a knife fight or something. We'll figure it out when we get there. But Andy P, Corey H tied at 364. Very tough to do in this game.
Suze has got 81 points. Suze, you're not even trying. You're not even trying.
Sue's noting she will get the Podfather in. There's no doubt. We'll make sure you're there for
all right.
for Gen Can't Karaoke. Let's move on to question. Say it again.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I do want to be there if I can.
Very good. Let's move on to question number 5. Puppies or kittens? Puppies or kittens, y'all. This is another one. I feel like if you've studied your Stephen Buonocore through the years, this one may not be a tough one.
There could be things out there that would hint at where I would go. But this was a really hard one. I mean, actually, it was because, I mean, there's nothing cuter than one of either or both.
Agreed.
Or a bunch of this or that. But in the end, I had to pick kittens. I have a cat. I love Mr. Percy. He's wonderful. We post him all over the place. Cats, I don't have a lifestyle that's good for me to have a dog, always on the road and things. Though, of course, now it would have been okay to have one.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to just get one and then, of course, not be able to be with him later on and leave it to Paula to take care of the dog. So we've always had a cat. Love cats. Kittens are just adorable. So cute.
Kittens are just adorable. The room, by and large, only 1 out of 4 people, 73% went puppies, 24 or 27% went kittens. You already heard the answer. It's kittens. How many games has your cat appeared in at this point? Do you have any idea?
Well, he was a okay, so he was in the Dragon and Flagon.
Yep.
He was there sitting like outside the tavern, I think he was, like on the outside looking up at mice.
Yeah.
And in Fist of Dragonstones, we had promo cards where it was Sir Percival was the name of the card, and he has a special power. You know, if you know Fist of Dragonstones, the cards come out and you close fist bid on the different cards to give you powers to win Dragonstones to win the game. So he has a special card as a promo card, which you can actually buy separately on Board Game Geek.
There you go. Suzanne making a quick note that she is not trying because of the ethical problem if she won. Paula also noting that's why she's just listening and not looking at the game as well. Everybody just keeping this on the level for everybody out there that's playing. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Zoe
from Belgium. She's from Belgium. It's like 3 a.m. in Belgium, and she's on this call right now.
Oh my word, Suzanne! She's from Belgium. We may be mailing a game to Belgium. Zoe. I'm gonna pronounce all the E's because you put them in there. 435 points. Jason at 379. Andy P at 364. I don't know if there's still a tie there. I'm gonna just let those sling by real fast so I can take a look and see if there's still a tie on third place. Out of curiosity, yes.
Nope. Oh my God, there is
for third place. There's no prize for third place, so as many people want to tie for third as possible. I am absolutely okay with that. We're gonna move on to question number 6 of our 10-question game. Here we go. Phone call or text message? Phone call or text message? People communicate in different ways. Stephen will talk about how he communicates in a moment. I'm a phone call guy. I want to talk to you. I want to hear the inflection and intonation. Suzanne noting that we've now lost our beer budget if Zoe wins this game. Our beer budget is shot. Let's see how the room answered. The room, so 63% think it's a phone call. 37% think it's a text message. Oh. Steven, so talk to us. What's your preferred form of communication?
Anybody who knows me knows that I text like a 15-year-old girl. No offense to 15-year-old girls, but like text message comes in, put it down, do something. I am a texting lunatic. So don't call me unless I'm expecting your call. Text is the way. Yeah, I saw that.
There we go. I'll pop that back up there for you.
Chris Funk knows, IT guy, text is the way. You got to get that quick message in, out, go on, move on. Talk is too big. Talking is important, but, text, quick. Yep.
There we go. Text message. 10 people getting that one right. Just a third of the room here. Let's take a look. Let's see how this changes the scores. Jason's at the top with 476. Just 20 points back is Clint. And in third place, a comfortable distance from us having to ship something halfway around the world, is Joey. Which once again, a note out there, we're doing a couple more of these before this weekend's over. If you put all those letters in your name, I'm going to pronounce every one of them. We're going to move on to question number 7 of our 10-question game. Here's the 7th question we asked you. Blackjack or poker? Blackjack or poker? Both gambling games. As a note, and this is one thing I just want to note to everybody out there, we ask you 20 questions. We let you pick the 10 you would like to answer. So about this particular set of gambling games, you wanted to answer this.
Right. That's actually a good point. So every one of these has at least some meaning to me, because some of the questions were like, something like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But anybody, first of all, if you know me, you've seen me possibly at conventions getting into the poker tournaments. Poker is a real game. Blackjack is not a game. Yeah, it's a game. I'm not going to argue the game portion, but your blackjack is the house just takes away your money. Poker is a game of skill. It's been proven, even in courts. It's a game of skill. Yes, luck, but it's a game of skill. Poker is a great game, a great gambling game. You have to have something on the line to really play the game. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But it's really, and people say, I can't play poker. Anybody can learn to play poker at least a certain level. So don't blow it off. It really, once you get the game and understand a little bit about odds, it is such a wonderful game to play. Poker is the right answer.
Absolutely. Let's take a look. Let's just show that to everybody. Poker is, in fact, the right answer. I would also add, just learning the basics of poker opens you up to so many more games that are in sort of the hobby space that use that sort of poker. Once you know your poker hands, it opens up a lot of games you didn't realize it's going to open up for you.
Probability is a huge thing in gaming. It just is. So should you, and a lot of times it's American style gaming where you have to roll dice. Well, you don't roll in some games. If you roll a dice, you have bad consequences if the odds are against you. Make sure you know the odds of doing so before you do it, at least within reason. So, you could feel lucky, punk. But if you're just rolling and it's a 5% chance of something happening and you have bad consequences, you probably don't want to. So poker expands your mind on how probability works into gaming in general.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Abram C leading with 480, Jason at 476, June K at 460.
That's June King from New Jersey. I love June. She comes to my happy hour all the time. She's very good friends from New Jersey. June King, go!
Good work, June. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed, it came by fast, but currently in last place is just a shark, Stephen. There's just a shark there. I hope that's not some part of the rest of Florida just coming to get you. That there's just a shark here. I was wondering where. Okay, Zoe went to 9th. So, Suzanne, good news. We might get to keep the beer budget. As we move on to question number 8 of our 10-question game, Marvel or DC? I would say one of the first things I had ever heard was what a comic book fan you were. Because anybody who does podcasting or does any kind of media, especially, I don't know how to go in the future, but you always heard the person you had to get on your show was Stephen Buonocore, and that Stephen Buonocore would do, hey, did you once talk about a game on your fishing show? Stephen Buonocore will come on. Do you largely talk about coffee, but one time you talked about a board game? Stephen will be on that show. So one of the things I had heard early when people were like, oh, you do a show about party games, you should get Stephen Buonocore. Oh, he likes comic books. You should talk to him about that. I still remember that being a thing people mentioned.
So that's the reason I got the nickname The Podfather, was that I appeared on every podcast. But you have something a little bit wrong there. I'm not a huge comic book fan. I'm a huge fan of the genre that is comic books, but not in the physical form of comic books, in animation or in the movies. So I love both of those universes. I mean, the characters in DC are so iconic. Batman, I am Batman. My mask is a Batman mask. Where is my mask, Paul? I gotta put my mask on right now to show you. But the characters that really, in the end, really show up better, both in comic books and on the screen, because Marvel Cinematic Universe is just brilliant, is Marvel. So, if I want to have to pick, I go Marvel. Marvel is the answer there.
Well, there you go. I would say, and tell me your feelings on this, because anytime I talk to anyone about sort of the superhero genre, I'll fix my language so that we're both in the same place, is that by and large, DC has better villains, Marvel has better heroes.
But the heroes, so let's think about that. The heroes are so flawed, and they don't they don't necessarily like each other, and that gives us so much interesting interaction between them.
True.
So that's the way I look at them. I mean, you look at a guy like Tony Stark, and they don't show it as much, of course, in the movies, but the guy's an alcoholic. He's just at points of his life, he's just a really not a good person, nice person, but he overcomes all of that. And the X-Men, they the various pieces of them hate each other, yet they've got to form this team to get together, and it's a much more interesting mix of characters and the way that they're shown. So that's why Marvel wins. And of course, they've done ridiculously great things in the cinematic universe.
Oh, no doubt about it. And as Peter has noted here, we're just not even really going to talk much about the DC cinematic universe. There were a couple of really good Batman movies, and then there were a couple of really bad Batman movies, and then there was Batman 66, which I personally have a soft spot in my heart for.
And Wonder Woman's amazing. Wonder Woman
amazing.
made the first movie astonishingly good. That was as good as the MCU movies, and of course things fall apart again. So whatever. What can you do? I mean, you try.
Not a thing. All I can do is buy a movie ticket when they're good. Abram C leading the game with 580. Jason at 574. NBO, I guess the new Blue Order is all I can guess, with 553, and then it just 545 with Clint, 544 with Andy P. So a lot of people trying to get that third place slot. But remember, the top two places are going to win that Aftershock bundle and Divvy Dice. It's 1 and 2. Don't worry about 3. You need to get past there. You need to get into the top. We're on question number 9. Just a second ago, you were talking about your love of the characters in Marvel, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So here's my question. X-Men or the Avengers? Which of those two groups? Just a moment ago, you spoke eloquently on both of them. But which one out there, which one did you hear just a little more passion for? The X-Men or the Avengers? Let's see how everybody answered. 58% going for the X-Men, 42% going for the Avengers. What is it, Stephen?
Hardest question that I ended up selecting for myself, really. But and of course, with the Avengers and the movies and all that happened, it sort of always puts that really in front of your mind more. But I think in the end, the X-Men and the way that those the books are written and the all of the background stories and everything that comes out of the way that those guys come together. Yeah. And the X-Men animated series, Peter, is astonishingly good not in the animation per se, but in the actual storylines and stuff like that. So X-Men is the winner by a touch.
And I'm glad. Let's just let everybody know. Yeah, it's the X-Men, and then let's see who's winning by a touch right now. The new Blue Order. I'm guessing Clint in second by not that many points. It is a fight for first place. Andy P in third, also within striking distance. Every question is worth 100 points. So there's a lot of points to be gotten in every single question. We're into our final question of the show.
Go, Clint.
So everybody out there, brace yourselves. And I think we're going to have just a heck of a discussion here in just a moment. Here we go. Your final question of the game, folks. Pizza or hot dogs? What is it? Stephen Buonocore is a proud New Yorker, and by that I mean he's from New Jersey. So he has strong opinions.
Born and raised in New York, and then moved to New Jersey. Half my life in those two places, and now I'm in Florida. So,
which is exactly where all New Yorkers go.
And New Jersey and Connecticut. Yeah. All of us migrate down to Florida in the end. So this was dead easy, but it was a question that just have to be asked if you know anything about Buonocore. I've been online having arguments with people who say Chicago pizza, St. Louis pizza.
Is that even made with anything real? St. Louis pizza?
It's some bizarre cheese substance. It's what are you kidding me? One of the greatest internet videos ever done put onto the internet. It's the Jon Stewart pizza rant. If there's one thing to take away from this game show, Go to YouTube and type Jon Stewart pizza rant and listen to this 10-minute rant about pizza. And every word he says is 100% true. There is one kind of pizza in this world. It's called pizza, and it's from New York. It's not, okay, you might call it New York style pizza, but it's called pizza. The stuff in Chicago. What do you call it? You call it Chicago style. You call it deep dish. You know what we call this? Pizza.
Pizza. Because it's real pizza.
That's real pizza.
So I'm going to ask you one follow-up on this, and you may or may not, just so everybody knows, we don't practice this ahead of time. So if you have no answer for this, that's fine. Do you have an opinion on New Haven pizza?
No, so never had it, but I heard it's just New York pizza that is done very well by a few places in New Haven. That's what I heard. I could be wrong about that. I don't know anything about it. So
I would say if you take that and then you also add clams on top of it.
What?
Like they do, yeah.
What?
I want to say it's either clams or mussels. There's one like mollusk they'll throw on there. But beyond that, it's pretty much like you're not wrong. It's just really good New York pizza with a little bit of seafood if you get like the signature at those places.
And I'm not opposed to that concept.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You know, that's sort of an outside the box thing. I would eat it because I love seafood. I love clams and mussels. That's a little odd though to call that like a style by itself. But I've heard that area makes some really good New York style pizza, which we call pizza,
as opposed to Chicago style pizza, which is a bread bowl,
which is a casserole where they pour uncooked mozzarella, uncooked marinara atop the cheese against all things known to God and man. He is so funny. The Jon Stewart pizza rant is brilliant. Check it out. It
is well worth checking out. And another thing well worth checking out is the leaderboard. Let's find out who's going to win this thing with 729 points. Clint has just won Aftershock, the Aftershock bundle. In second place, just 4 points back. A heck of an effort. Andy P is taking home our copy of Divvy Dice. Both of you, please contact me on Twitter at BG The Game Show. I'll get your information. I'll hand it all off to Suzanne, and we will get you those games. Fantastic work. Let me pull back now to where it's just you and me talking. Thank you so much for playing, everybody.
And with Zoe, because Zoe came in third, and third was close, and hey, it's easy to send. I'm going to get Zoe a digital code for Terraforming Mars Digital. She can, and I know Zoe. I talked to her already. She can choose Steam or iOS. I have codes for both of those. Zoe, next time you see me on Happy Hour, I'll send you a code for digital Terraforming Mars.
There you go. Good work, Zoe. Taking third place, getting a prize off the cuff. We do have a question here, a little bit of business people want to cover, actually.
Okay.
So when is Divvy Dice releasing for us to buy rather than to win?
Yeah, I believe it's September 9th. It's in September. And right now, there's we've actually put out a big sale where you can get a lot of these games on the Gen Con online sale. You can get games before they're released as well. But if you don't want to buy them beforehand, you can wait to retail. We're okay with that too. Of course, early September for Divvy Dice.
So there you go. There you go. Stephen, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the very first episode of the interview here at Board Game the Game Show.
Thank you so much, Bruce. I really appreciate that you invited me. This was great. It was wonderful talking beer and space and all kinds of crazy stuff. And this is a really good show. You got to do this more. Let's do this.
Thank you so much. That's the hope. Everybody out there, remember, if you want me to do more of this, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Tell me who you want me to interview. This is in the very beginning. I'll point. Let me know, because we are just starting the show now. We're starting brand new concepts, and that is one thing I have always known. And I want to just take a second personally to thank you, Stephen, because you were the first person in this industry when I started the podcast doing party games to say, hey, Bruce, you mean something, you're important. And I can say anybody out there that's in the industry that sees this either right now or afterwards, those connections are incredibly important. And they really do help a lot of small groups that are just getting into this. And it reminds them that, keep doing what you do, keep making the stuff you make, and eventually you end up here on the interview.
Bruce, you thought you were like, well, we just do party games, so we're not that important in hobby. Yeah. And I'm like, no, dude. I love party games. B, more of the games I play are party games than not. And it's just a huge segment. It doesn't have to be mass market bad party games.
True.
Review and do the stuff that gamers want to play when they can't spend 3 hours playing a game. They want to play stuff with their family, with their friends, having a little beer and playing silliness. So you did a great job with the party game cast, featuring the party game cast. I love that. And thank you again for all of you have done for the industry as well. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on. This has been great.
Thank you so much. Just a quick note, this is the last thing we're going to say. If you're out there and you're watching, we have 2 more games tomorrow. We have the interview with Senfong Lim. That's going to be at 3 p.m. East. Then we're doing It's Quiz Time, the Stream of Consciousness quiz show. That will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow. And then finally, my part of this is going to wrap up at 7 p.m. on Saturday when we do the interview one more time with Elizabeth Hargrave. Thank you so much for coming out to Gen Cant. Once again, Stephen, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you all of everyone out there for playing. And we will see you next time. Remember, between now and the next time I see you, go play something.